Good morning, everyone. My name is W.J. Miles. I am your instructor for the webinar today. Barbara Bach is going to be answering questions online. So if you have any questions, feel free to type those into the question bar. You can do that by going to the question pane located in the top right-hand corner of the screen. If you see the question pane there, if you don't see the question pane there, you may have to click on the little orange arrow button to maximize it. We'll do our best to answer as many questions as possible as time allows today. At the end of the presentation, I'm sure we'll have some time for questions there also. So today's topic is comparing ESignature use with Zipforms digital ink and Instanet's AuthentiSign product. Just to get everybody on the same page here, if you go to mymetrotex.com, this is our member website or professional website here. If you haven't been here in a while, it has a new look to it. Would love for you to come here and explore the screen and see all the information we have there for you. It's organized really well, get you to the different sections. All the way down here at the bottom is our contact information, and then over here on the right are our social media links. We would love for you to get connected with us to social media. You'll see the different symbols here for the different social media links. One that I really like is our YouTube channel here. We have lots of recorded webinars and training videos and things like that for you here today. So be sure and look for this webinar here in the next couple of days. It'll be recorded and be put up for you to review on our YouTube channel, as all of our webinars are. If we go up to the top, you'll see all of the major things that you need to get from the website. Account access is where you can log into our website here. This is for scheduling your classes, canceling your classes, seeing your bills, paying your bills, that type of thing. Then we're going to log into MLS here in just a moment. That's where we like for you to go to log into MLS. We really don't recommend that you log in from Zipforms from here. If you go here, you have to know your login name and password. I'm going to show you how to do that through Matrix here in just a moment. And then our courses and events is right here. This is our electronic calendar. If you click on that, you're going to see all of our classes here. All of the committee meetings, classes, events here at MetroTex. So you can see everything that's going on. One that we like to show you is how to see just the MLS classes. If you go to the left-hand side of the screen and you click on MLS, you'll see just our MLS classes here. And right here is the webinar that we're doing on Zipforms and Instanet. The other classes, you'll see the name of the class here in the center, the date and the time to the left, and then to the right, you'll see the location that it's in. If you find a class that you want to take, make sure that it's in a location that you want to take it in. We have locations all around the Metroplex. We have a location in Grapevine, Louisville, Richardson, Garland, Duncanville, and then our main office here in Dallas. So this is where you can come. You can actually click on the class, and on that class you can sign up to attend that class. So to get to our main website again, it's mymetrotex.com. That will bring you to our member website here. So if you haven't done so, go ahead and click on the MLS login here with me at mymetrotex.com, MLS login. Then once you sign in with your username and password, you'll come to the Netris portal. Again, to get to Zipforms, there's a Zipforms icon down here, but we really recommend you go in through Matrix. If you click on Matrix, that'll take you to the home page of Matrix. And on the home page of Matrix, you'll see external links. If you click on external links there, to get into Zipforms, this is where we recommend that you log in from. Zipform login right there. If you click on that link, and it takes you to the Texas Association of Realtors, that means you need to set up your Zipforms account. If you need assistance doing that, you can call our MLS department at 214-540-2755. But today's webinar, I'm assuming that you already have access to Zipforms. So we're going to go through the Zipforms digital ink setup first. Once you click on that, it will take you into the Zipforms product. This is the new user interface. Everyone needs to get switched over to this new user interface. If you're still using the old user interface, that is going to be going away in a few weeks. So make sure that you go to the new user interface for Zipforms Plus right here and start getting used to it, because the classic is going to be going away. One thing I like to do with everyone is to make sure that Zipforms is set up properly for you to use the electronic signature, and all your contact information is here. So if you go to the top right hand corner, you'll see the word me right there. If you click down, you'll see your contact information there. Okay? If you click on view profile in the bottom of that little box that pops out, it's going to take you to a profile that has your contact information on it. This came over from our membership database here originally. So if it's wrong here, it's probably wrong on our membership database. But if you need to change any of your contact information there, you can. If you collapse the My Information and expand the email signature, you can also put in an email signature here down below. I would recommend that you do that. Click your cursor in there and put in a couple of blank lines, and then put in your contact information there, and I'll show you where that shows up later on today. If you make any changes on this page, be sure and hit the Save button right there. When you hit the Save, it's going to save any changes that you did to this page. And then there's several other tabs you can go through here to change things. I would recommend on this Sign In and Security tab that you do not change that username. It's going to cause you some problems if you do. I would also recommend that you don't reset your password here. Do that out on the single sign-in process, or where you came into Matrix in that area back on the Netris portal. Then it has the office information here. Again, if it's wrong here, it's probably wrong on our membership database, so I would get it changed there. If you do change offices, however, you do have to come here to make those changes. And then if we go to forms, you'll see the libraries and the products and everything. The main one I want to bring you to is settings. If you're going to follow along with me today, I'm going to be using the ZipLogic Digital Ink. So make sure and click that button right there. If you're a DocuSign user, you can come back later on and click on DocuSign to reuse that. But today's class, I'm going to be talking about ZipLogic Digital Ink. So go ahead and select that. If you have need of using any of these other products down here, your broker is going to tell you about doing those. Okay? So if you did make this change to ZipLogic Digital Ink, go ahead and hit Save there. And once you do that, let's go back to the dashboard. Alrighty, so I took the privilege before class here of starting a play transaction. So if everyone will, go ahead and go to transactions, and I just started a play transaction. We really don't have time today to go through setting up transactions in both products there, but if you have a play transaction that you can play with today and you want to follow along with me, then jump in one of those transactions, and I'm going to show you how to use the ESignature inside of Zipforms. So I just created this one. This is a test transaction I have in the Matrix system, and I brought it over here into Zipforms. It's 1234 Easy Street. Don't we wish we all were on Easy Street these days? So you'll see right here on the little house the transaction details, or the property summary screen on here. The name of the transaction is going to be in the top left-hand corner here on the gray bar, 1234 Easy Street. And then you can step across and use one of each of these icons. If you have a question as to what these icons are, if you go to the bottom right-hand corner, there's Guided Help, and then you click on Quick Tips. When you click on Quick Tips, it's going to put a template over the top of these icons to show you what each of these are for. So you'll see the transaction summary, the transaction parties, the documents that you have here, the checklist for the transaction management system, any notes that you want there, the history of the transaction, and services that you use there. So once you see those, then you can hit a little X in the top right-hand corner, and those will go away. If you roll over the icons also when you're in the process here, it will tell you what those icons are. So if I go to documents, I've already taken the privilege of putting some documents in here also across the bottom. So we've got across the middle here. So I've got a 1 to 4 family, a third-party financing, and information about brokerage services there. Okay. So to show you the e-signature process, it's very simple here in ZipLogic. The first thing you want to do is make sure you have the documents that you want to send out for e-signature. I've also added my parties. If I go to the parties, I've got buyer number 1, seller number 1. I'm in there as the broker. So if you do this ahead of time, you go ahead and come in here and create your parties. And this is just my dog, Rudy, my dog. Here is my buyer. And you go ahead and put their names on here, first name, last name, and email address. Then you're going to be all set up to do an e-signature with them. So I would recommend that you put your parties in underneath the Parties tab before you start the e-signature process. If we go back to Documents, when we want to start the e-signature process, there's another little bar when you're in the Documents here that's a light gray bar. This dark gray bar stays on the transaction the whole time, and this light gray bar changes depending on what you want to do. And if we click on the e-signature icon, the very first icon there, when you click on that, it's going to step you through doing the electronic system here, electronic signature. If we go to create, the first thing there, it wants you to create an e-signature packet. You do this each time you start a new signing. When we click on that, it wants a packet name, giving the packet name. Your customer is going to see this, and I'm going to point that out to you on the email when we send it out. So make sure it's something that you want your customer to see. So let's say this is the beginning of our transaction on this. Maybe this is the initial signing or the beginning signing here that I want my buyer to sign. And then in the new user interface, it does let you switch between services. If you're a DocuSign user, you can choose that. We're going to use the ZipLogic Digital Ink again today. This is included in the Zipforms subscription that you have, no additional charge. DocuSign is a third-party service, and you do have to purchase a service with them. Then you can choose what folder you want this to come back in. If you don't choose a folder, it's just going to come into the main folder there. I'll show you where those documents wind up here in just a few minutes. And then we have select documents to include in this signing. If you click on select documents to include, it's going to pop up with the documents that you have in the transaction. If you come to our Zipforms class, we'll talk about what a cover sheet is. It's a very important topic, and you need to know what that is, but we're just going to send our information about brokerage services, our 1 to 4 family, and third-party financing documents. Those are going to be the documents we want our buyer to sign. Then we're going to hit the close in the bottom center of that window. And when we hit close, we're going to see the documents here at the down at the bottom of the signing. It says information about brokerage services, 1 to 4 family, third-party financing. Then at the top right-hand corner of the signing here, we have a next button. If we click on next, it brings us to step 2 of the signing here, and it wants us to select our parties. There's a little blue person here in the top left-hand corner. Notice we currently don't have any parties out here. So if we click on the little blue person in the blue circle there, it's going to allow us to go to a lot of different places to get contacts. This is something new in the new user interface where they allow us to go to all these different places. I just want to get them out of my transaction parties because I've already added the parties to the transaction before we came into the signings. So if I come to transaction parties, I can find Rudy Miles, buyer number 1, as and that's his email address there. So I'm going to put a check mark next to him, and I'm going to hit the close button. It shows the information here. There's a few things that have been changed in the new signing from the old signing. I'll point those out as we go through it here. But we've got our primary partner here, or primary person in the transaction, buyer number 1, his email address, and then you can choose to copy yourself on the email or not. I would probably choose not to, but that's up to you if you want to get copied on that. And then this choose security. We're going to see here in just a moment that's going to pop up again. If we hit next, it pops up again and wants you to pay for this cybersecurity package. If you want to do that, it's going to cost you $5 per transaction. This is a fully functional electronic signature system. You really don't need to do this. It's up to you if you want to go to that expense. It will complicate it for your buyer also somewhat. So if we go to no thanks here, that will go away. And then it's going to go to our documents. We're in the third step here, add signatures and documents. If you created the documents in Zipforms using the forms out of the forms library, the documents are already set up to be viewed here. So I've just got some generic information plugged in here. Notice that that initial is already there at the bottom of the information about brokerage services. If I scroll down, you're going to see that the forms are filled in, and when I get to the bottom of each page, you'll see that the initials are already there. So I created all 3 of these documents from forms out of the libraries here, so they're already set up to go and to be used with the system. If we go to the left-hand side of the system here, or the window here, you'll see that you can add initials and signatures, text boxes, all of that. That would be used if you uploaded a PDF file from outside the system and you need to put in the information, put in these fields on that document because they weren't created in the system. All 3 of these were, so I'm not going to do that right now. If I hit the send button in the top right-hand corner, it's then going to pop up, and notice the title of the email that I'm sending is the name that I gave the signing process here. So you might want to change that and say, please e-sign, whatever you want to have on the title of the email. I'm going to show you an email here in just a moment. And then it says, this is your name from whatever your broker is. Has some generic text there. If you want to change it, you can. You can highlight that and then type in whatever you want to do there. So now I'm going to hit the send. And when I hit send, it's going to come back and tell me this transaction was successfully started. And this is the e-signature packet that we created here. Notice in the top, we changed it to please e-sign. It says Rudy, and his name here, is going to receive an email, and he has actions required. That means he hasn't done this e-signature process yet. The documents attached to this are down here at the bottom, these 3 documents. And then normally I'm just going to go to the top right-hand corner and hit close right there. But if I needed to modify this, I could. If I needed to go in and view these documents, I could. If for some reason I needed to resend the email there, I could. So this is a very helpful screen, but normally once you send it and you've got all your documents correct there, you're going to go to the top right-hand corner and hit the close. When you hit close, it's going to bring you back to the e-signature packet window here. And it shows this one's in process because that little orange deal with the 2 arrows in it says it's in process or still being worked on, and that you just set that up. Okay? So then I'm going to go on about my business, doing my other deals, going to lunch, whatever I need to do there. And I'm going to call my client and let them know, hey, I sent that offer over for you to sign. I'm going to jump over here in another web browser, and I'm going to go to Rudy's email address here, and I'm going to refresh the screen. When I hit refresh there, you're going to see that Rudy has received an email to sign the documents. Just came in at 10:20 a.m. here, and notice it came from ZipLogic Digital Inc. Don't tell them to watch for an email from you. Watch for an email from ZipLogic Digital Inc. Your documents are ready to review, and whatever I put on the title of that email is right there. If I had left that with the initial signing, I would see that there also. If I click on the email, this is what the email looks like to your clients there. It's going to show this. It's going to show the Digital Inc. logo right there. Your documents are ready to sign. It calls your client by name, hello, and whatever their name is. Whatever text you put in the body of the email, they're going to see, and then they're going to see sign documents. When they click on sign documents, the documents never leave Zipforms. They stay inside of ZipLogic Digital Inc., and everyone comes to the signing. So I had said earlier that the signing process has changed somewhat, and this is one of the things that ZipLogic has added. They're trying to get everyone to sign up for what's called a Zip community, or you may have heard of it referred to as Zip Connect. This is a product where you can share your computer screen, you can do conference calls over the internet, you can use it in other different ways. It's complicating the e-signature process here. It takes your client a little too long to do some of this stuff when they just want to sign documents. So tell them when they first come in that they can go over here and connect without an account. That won't start setting up this system, and they can just go straight to signing the document. So connect without an account. When they click on that, everything else flows pretty much the same as it did with the classic version. So again, it calls your client by name, and it's telling them we're going to get started reviewing documents. But as always, we have a legal consent here that they want to use this electronic system. So they would hit the accept button there and hit next. Once they click on that, you're going to see that it's asking them to put their password in twice. That way they can't accidentally typo their password. So they're going to type in the password. You can't see their password. You can't help them with their password. So it needs to be something they're going to remember. And then once they've typed it in twice, it gives them an option on how their signature is going to look. Down here at the bottom, you've got different fonts that you can select, or they even have the option of drawing their own signature. If they flip this switch, it's going to change this down here where they can draw their own signature. If they're on a tablet with a pen, or they're using the mouse here, I'm kind of getting to where I can scribble my name a little bit with a pen. Not the best in the world, but it gets the job done here. And then my initials right there. I don't think most people are going to go to this trouble. I think they're just going to select one of these down here. So which the sloppiest one? I guess this bottom left-hand corner is the sloppiest look right there. So if we click on that, and then let's say, let's go. Whoops, I didn't put in the same password twice. Confirm your signing password must equal the other password. All right, as I told you, they can't typo it. So I'm redoing it here. Now, come on. Okay, you have to put the same password twice. Once they do that and they hit let's go, it's going to bring them in to review the documents. So they can hit let me review, and they're going to see the documents that you sent them. The top left-hand corner shows my progress. Once this hits 100%, they're going to be done with the process. They can scroll down until they find the first initial and click on it, or they can hit the next button. Notice we have previous in the bottom left-hand corner, next in the bottom right-hand corner. If they hit next, it's going to take them straight to the next initial. They don't even have to review the documents. I'm sure your clients trust you implicitly and they would never read your documents because you never make a mistake. But notice as I'm going through and hitting the initials, the meter up here in the top left-hand corner is filling up. So I'm going to go to one here. I'm going to intentionally not click this one. I'm going to intentionally miss it, and I'm going to hit the next button, and I'm going to continue on just like I have done each of them. This is the reason I don't do a whole lot of documents to e-sign, because it gets a little bit monotonous here going through and clicking all of them. But notice when I get to the last one here and I hit next again, it takes me back up to the top, and I'm going, okay, why am I not done? I thought I signed everything. There's the one that I missed. So it won't let them miss one. This meter has to get to 100% before they're done. When I click on that, it says finish signing right there. I can stay here and review the documents, or I can finish. I'm going to go ahead and click finish. It's going to bring me to another screen here. And here in just a moment it'll update. It's checking all the initials and signatures just to confirm that I've completed everything. It says, Rudy, thanks for signing online. You've successfully completed everything. There's several different ways they can get out. They can hit close right there, or they can hit quit in the top right-hand corner. When they hit quit there, it again brings them back and wants them to set up this free account for that. Okay? So easy to use, and your clients can use that as one of their signing options there. Okay, I'm going to get back to the inbox of Rudy's email here. Notice it also said thank you for submitting your e-signature. So it sends them an email to confirm that they've completed the signing. So that's using ZipLogic Digital Ink with the new user interface there. There's another product called Instanet Solutions. Instanet Solutions. Let me show you just quickly that Matrix and Instanet Solutions are very tightly married together. I'm going to jump back over into Matrix here, and I'm going to go to one of my listings again. This is my active listing. This is one of my test listings in the system. Oops, that's not good. What's going on there? There we go. Not sure what that was. So I'm on a play listing here, and I'm going to click on that play listing. Again, this is in the Netris test environment. This is not anything that you can see. And that's actually my wife and Rudy, my dog, right there, and her little new card where they were sitting there and getting to know that. Notice at the bottom of the picture on any listing on the full agent report, there's a little icon. It says transaction, start a transaction. So if you pull up a listing in Matrix and you want to start a transaction with that, you'll click on that icon, or if you change the display to the agent single line display, when you're on the agent single line, that icon is right there also. This is a great feature. Matrix is very tightly connected with Instanet, and when you click on that, that will push all the information over into Instanet to start a transaction. If you come to class, we'll show you how to do that. It basically fills out page 9 on the 1-to-4 family contract there for you. So I've already done that. I've started this transaction. I'm going to come over into Instanet and click on Transaction Desk. The last transaction you worked on is going to be right here at the top. I'm going to click on that. It's going to bring me into the transaction. You can drive the system one of two ways. You can use these boxes or widgets out here in the center, or if you go to the top right-hand corner, it's behind my deal. How am I going to get to it now? Let me back up here. Give me just a second. It's because I've got an extra little icon up there in the top right-hand corner. So I've got this open here. Notice it says Transaction Wizard. Each one of these things on this Transaction Wizard, this was the icon I was trying to get to right there, correlates with these widgets out here. So the customer, go to customers right there is the same as, or contacts, go to contacts, I'm sorry, is the same as contacts over here. Forms, go to forms, is the same as go to forms right there. So if you go to the forms, you'll see all the forms that I've added here to the transaction ahead of time. And there's several different ways to start assigning. I could go over here, click on signings, and start assigning. Or while I'm in the forms here, I can select each one of the forms that I want to send for e-signature. When I put a check mark there to the right of each one in those select boxes, it puts them in my basket. When I click on the basket, it's going to come up with all these different things that I can do with these. I could print them out. I could zip them. If you don't remember zip, this is back when we had slow internet and we had to do everything we could to make things transmit faster, so it has that capability packed in there. I could copy them. I could fax them. I could delete them. I could do all these different things. But the first icon right there is Sign In, Authenticign. When we click on Sign In, Authenticign, it's going to start the Authenticign process here for us. Oh, great. We're having a great day here, aren't we? Hold on one second. Let me try this again. I'm going to put a check mark on each of those. Click on Sign. Wonderful when you do an online demonstration and things online don't want to work. There we go. So here are all the different ways that we could add forms to this. If we had forgotten to select some forms, then we could go back into the transaction and get those. We could go to all these different online systems. We could upload a file. We could upload a fax, email, all these different things. We're going to go ahead and close that because we already have our forms down, our documents down here. Let me make sure that we do. In case the system's messing up on me again, hold on one second. Well, we'll see here in just a moment. Here in step one is taking us through the Authenticign process. This is what the signing is called. Notice it's got the name of the transaction and the information about brokerage services. I might want to wipe over that and give it another name. Again, let's just call it buyer signing. Whatever you want to name it there. And then it has two different ways to sign. It has the participant order. The first one is what's called sign in line. That means I need people to sign in a particular order. So if I wanted buyer number 1 to sign first, then it go to buyer number 2, then it come back to me for signature, so forth, I could set up a sign in line. I think the majority of the time that's going to work best for us is what's called a simul sign. Simul sign means each of the participants that are being invited to sign documents get the invitation at the same time, and it's a first come, first serve. Whoever can sign first there. So the simul sign. This has some capabilities that we may or may not use, like this expiration date. Says do not set an expiration date. I want my buyer to sign as soon as they can, and if it takes them till tomorrow to get it done, I'm still going to allow them to do it tomorrow. But if I did want to set a signing expiration, it would say on this date at this time. If you ain't got it signed by then, just forget about it. Don't do that. So I don't think we're going to use that feature. Reminders. Do not send reminders, or send a reminder however many hours you want them to be a part there. Again, I'm probably going to be talking with my buyer closely to try to get them to sign those documents as soon as possible. So I'm not thinking we're going to use the advanced features a whole lot, but that's up to you. Then we have our participants. If we click on the participants, it's going to show us the participants, there we go, in the transactions. So my seller's name is Bill Smith there. It's got me as the listing agent, and then it has Rudy as my buyer. I'm wanting to send this to my buyer for signature, so when I put an initial there, it says Rudy Miles at this email address is going to be a remote signer. Remote signer means you're not with them. In our advanced class, our advanced Instanet class, we go over some more advanced features, and one of those is a sign in person. How do you do the sign in person there? Maybe I'm putting in just a reviewer. I want them to review these documents, or I just want a carbon copy to let them know, hey, this is going on. Those are the 4 different options. We're going to use remote signer here, and we're going to hit add. When we click on the add button, it says, okay, I'm good to go. If there was something then preventing Rudy from being able to do this, there would be a red hand over that pen right there saying, well, hold on, you haven't given me enough information for Rudy to be able to do what you want him to do. At that point, I would click on the little ink pen here. It would pop up and show me the information for Rudy. So they have, these 3 red fields have to have an answer. So we've already said he's a remote signer. We need first name, last name, and email address. And while you're here, you can go ahead and type in their custom signature and initials there for them so that it'll show up in the examples. If I left out the email address and didn't have an email address for him, I would see that red hand there saying, hey, he can't complete it without an email address there. So now I'm going to hit Save Participant. We're ready to go on our participants. I'm going to close that. And now we're going to go to step 3, the documents. Since we created these 3 documents in the system, or I did before we started the webinar here, they're already set up with the initials and signatures. That's what these little yellow boxes are here. If I had another document over here that had not been set up in the system, then it would show over here that I needed to add an initial or signature there. If I need to add a document, I could, but I'm just going to use these 3 forms here to initial and sign. Then we're going to go to step 4, which is design. This is going to show you the documents and where the electronic initials and signatures are already applied to those documents. When we come here, we're going to see, whoops, it's not in order. I should have put those in order for you to show how those are going to be. We're going to start with the third-party financing here. If we scroll on down, we'll see initial and signature. Then if we go on to the 1 to 4 family, we've got initials and so forth. Okay? If you needed to add something, the top right-hand corner, you'll see the name of your client. If you had more than one name, you would get on each name, and then you would drag and drop these options here. This, again, has some things I'm not sure that we're going to use. We have sign here. Then we have optional sign here, initial and optional initial. I don't know of any documents that we have optional initials and signatures on, so I think we're going to use the sign here and initial here. But let's say we needed to add another initial over here. We would just drag it in place and drop it right there. This little wheel here at the bottom allows us to do some things. It looks like a gear. We could add a date stamp, we could add a time stamp, all those different things. If we want to delete what we just did, we hit delete and it disappears. So very easy to drag whatever you need to out onto the document here, and it will go into place. If I go down to the page 9, bottom of page 8 here, notice the signature. This is the date stamp right there. It can be anywhere on the document that it needs to be. Okay? So you could put it right there. If this was the last person that was initial and assigning and you needed this document to be executed, you could actually drag that date and time up there, and when the last person initials and signs, then it would be executed there for you. Just a little tip that we give you in class there. Okay, so I would scroll down through there, look at all the different documents, make sure they're ready to go. Once they're ready to go, I'm going to hit the next button in the top part of the screen here, the blue next button. When I hit next, it's going to come up and it gives me two options. I can just send the invitations, or if I wanted to modify the generic invitation, I could come down here in the bottom center and have customized invitations, emails, subject, and text right there. I could change whatever I wanted to say in there. Otherwise, I'm just going to hit send invitation. It's going to pop up and tell me AuthentiSign has sent the invitation successfully. Hit OK. It's going to bring me back out to my signings screen right here. And notice here, it has the buyer signing, and it says it's in progress with a little lightning bolt right there. That means that the buyer has not done what they need to do yet. Okay, so we're going to have in progress and the lightning bolt there. So this is my clue that I can call my customer and let them know that there is an email asking them to sign the documents. So again, I'm going to jump back over to Rudy's email here, and notice at 10:40, just sent about a minute ago, it has an email that looks like it came from me. Yes, that is my name. I go by my initials, WJ, but my actual name is Walter James Miles III. So that's the reason I go by my initials there. So it shows that he got an email from me, not from AuthentiSign or ZipLogic Digital Link. It looked like it came from me. And it says, AuthentiSign invitation to review and sign documents for buyer signing. When I click on that, this is what the email is going to look like from AuthentiSign here. So notice it has my contact information there. That's actually the MetroText logo. Be careful when you're putting the logo on your setup profile information in AuthentiSign that you keep it pretty small, because mine's small and it's still pretty big up there. Then we have signing participant information. It calls your client by name, shows their email address there, and it has the generic information in here. And notice there's our ink pen right there. Here at the bottom, our contact information we put on our setup when we did our profile in Instanet. And then we've got this ink pen. It looks just like the ink pen that you had inside the system. So when I click on that, it's going to bring them to the documents. Again, the documents do not leave Instanet. They stay inside the system, and everyone comes to the documents. You come to them to modify them and set them up. Your customers come to them to initial and sign them. So this is the way it looks to your customer. Notice it has their name here and a font that they're using, so it's showing their name and their initials. They could select a different font here, or they could draw their signature. When they click on Draw Signature, I'll do mine real scribbly here again just to show you that it can be done with the mouse if you play with it enough. I'm not going to go to that trouble. I think they're going to not do that. Why is it closed? There we go. And I think they're going to select one of them. If you hit select font here, it pops up again. My wife has a beautiful signature like these first two. Mine is not even that good. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that one and hit the save button. It brings me back, and then I have to tell it, yes, I accept the terms of using this electronic system. So I'm going to hit accept. It's going to bring me in to view the documents here. Again, I would have had those in the proper order there. There's some initials. So I can scroll up and down viewing this. Notice this also has a progress meter here in the top center. And when I click on an initial, it automatically jumps me to the next initial or signature. It doesn't prevent me from rolling back up and seeing, but it takes me to the next place that I need to initial or sign. Again, just to demonstrate it, there's 5 out of 11 of mandatory fields here. I'm going to skip that one on purpose, and I'm going to go through and click on the rest of them. When I click on this signature, it's going to put the date right there. When I click on that, it takes me to the next initial and so forth. Okay, so, oh, it popped me back up to the one that I missed. I didn't notice I was at the bottom of the page, but it popped me back up to the one that I missed. When I did and I clicked on it, it said 11 out of 11 mandatory fields were completed there. I've got several options. I can complete the signing. I can stay in review. If I hit reset, it removes everything that I did. Maybe I found an error and I don't want my initials or signatures to be on these documents. They could hit reset and it would take it totally off. I'm going to go ahead and hit complete signing, and then this system asks us at the end to create a password. Instead of that being right up front when we came in, as it was in Zipforms, this system does it at the end. So now I'm going to put in my password. Again, I have to type it twice so that I don't accidentally misspell it or whatever. Then I can say, no thanks, I don't want, but I want to add this password to the system here. When I hit add, it pops up a confirmation document here saying you have successfully signed, and it gives you a confirmation ID there. So if they wanted to print this out, they could. Okay, so easy process for you to do. I'm going to go ahead and close that, and it's going to bring me back over to my system here. Okay, so both systems are easy to use, and they accomplish the task very easily there. So let me see, we've got about 15 minutes left here. If I go back into my transaction on Transaction Desk, again, I'm back in Instanet Solutions. I go to Transaction Desk. Here at the top is the last transaction I worked on. When I click on that and I go to Signings, when I go to Signings here, notice that last signing, the buyer signing, says it's now approved. When I click on look at the status here, it says approved, and I have a little blue ribbon. That means that the documents have been signed. So the documents were, the forms that I sent out were forms, but once they're signed, they become documents. When I click on documents here, and I come into the document section, anything that has a little green lock to the left of it means that it has been electronically signed. If I click on the 1 to 4 family here and I look at it, or excuse me, the information about brokerage services, and I look at it, when I scroll to the bottom, I see what was filled in, and I see that initial sitting right there. Okay? So that is where you're going to find the documents in Instanet before, after they're signed. Before they're signed, they're called forms if you create them in the system. Once they're signed and become signed documents, they're going to be in the document section there. If I jump back over to Zipforms, just to show you how it looks in Zipforms, when I go to my transactions, the last transaction I worked on is going to be in the top left-hand corner. When I go there and I go to documents, the way that Zipforms displays it is under a folder in the main folder here called Initial Signings. When I click on that, these are the documents that have been signed. In the bottom right-hand corner of each one is red, and it says PDF right there. So these are the documents that have been signed in Zipforms. Okay? So I think that's a pretty good comparison between the two with Zipforms and Instanet using the two different products. Okay? So Barbara, did we have any questions during the session today?
Can you hear me, WJ?
I can.
Okay, we had a good question. What are the legal differences between DocuSign and digital ink and Instanet?
All of them are fully functional electronic signatures. I think there was an act by Congress a long time ago that set what the requirements were for using digital ink systems, and all of them meet those requirements, so they're all viable options.
And there was a question about enter an executed date. I did notice that you can put a date in Instanet, but can you do an executed date in Zipforms?
In Zipforms, let me go back here and look. Let's go to folders over here. Let's do the 1 to 4 family. Let's send it out for electronic signature. Good. Hit next. We got to add our buyer. Going to go to our transaction parties. Going to put a check mark there next to Rudy. And we're going to hit next. Again, I'm not going to select that. I'm going to hit no thanks. And what we would do is add an initial or signature to this document. That's what these icons are over here. But let's get down to where the executed date is. And I believe your answer is going to be yes, you can, because it allows you to do some additional things with the initials and signatures. So this date right here, we can drag that right up in place up there. If that date wasn't there, let's say it's gone, if we want to add that date, we would do the little gear with the signature, and we can include a date field and apply. And again, wherever that date field needs to be on the documents, we can move it around. But if this was the last person to initial or sign, we could put that date right there, and it would execute that document for us. So the answer is yes.
Perfect. One other question about 2 signers, same email, and also 2 or more signers where they all can sign at the same time in either program.
I have not tested it in Instanet as to whether you can use the same email on 2 different people. I know in Zipforms it will allow you to do that, but honestly I have not tested it in Instanet to know that. One little trick.
I haven't either.
Yeah, one little trick that you can do is if you're sending an email to a Gmail user. Let me think about how I'm going to do this. Hold on just a second. Is there a Word here or a Notepad so I can print it on the screen?
While you're looking for that, someone also said, are the boxes for the signatures automatically generated for each, or do we have to go through each page and insert them?
I'm sorry?
That's one of the questions, too, from Susan.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
The boxes for the signatures, are they automatically generated for each, or do we have to go through each page and insert the boxes?
On forms that
they're automatically there.
Yeah, on forms they're automatically there. When you upload a document from outside the system, then you do have to put those in. Okay, you have to drag them onto the documents. Okay, so let's say this is just a trick for Gmail users. If you have someone that is using the same email, which not everybody's a good candidate for electronic signature, and if they're both using the same email address, they may not be good candidates. But on Gmail, this trick works with Gmail only. If you do their email address, that's a unique email. But on Gmail, if you do a plus and a number, like +1, that is a unique email address separate from rudydogmiles@gmail.com, but it goes into the same email account. Does that make sense? So rudydogmiles@gmail.com, it would go into their inbox. Well, you do the +1, it becomes a unique email address, but it still goes into the same inbox. You could do +10, +99, whatever the number is. That way you can have unique email addresses for each person as to who's signing. That makes sense? All right, any other questions?
But in Zipforms, you can...
In Zipforms,
but in Zipforms, you could drag their email signature on top of each other, and they're both #1 signers, right?
Correct. Let me back up here. Let's see if it'll let me back up. Let's say we had 2 parties here. If I add a party, and I go here, and I select myself. Okay? Notice let's just pretend both of these are buyer number 1 and buyer number 2. See how it has a signing order right here? It has to go to Rudy. He has to sign before buyer number 2 ever gets an invitation to sign. So this would be the sign in line that we talked about over in AuthentiSign. But if you want to make it where they both receive an invitation at the same time, you grab buyer number 2, you pull them up. Oops, hold on. Uh-oh. There we go. It's got a new extra little icon on this one. You have to grab this 4-way here at the beginning and drag it up on number 1 and drop it. Oops.
It's pretty tricky.
Yeah, this isn't as easy as what it is on the other one, is it?
No.
Yeah, the new signing here is not as easy, but you can select right there in the box to change it. That was a quick trick that we used to do in the old user interface where we could drag them back and forth, and it looks like it's trying to do that, but you do have to change the signing order here inside the box. If you make them both number 1s, they both receive an email. It doesn't matter which one signs first. Okay, other questions?
You've answered all of them, and I've answered the ones that they've typed in as well.
All right, so both of them are very viable options for using here for your e-signature needs. It's called AuthentiSign inside of Instanet Solutions. If you come down here to AuthentiSign, you'll see all of your signings set up there. But the easiest way to get there inside of Instanet is go to Transaction Desk. The last one that you worked on is going to be right here at the top. When you click on that, then you can go into the transactions. You can go to signings right there, or out here in the middle, you'll see signings here also. The reason my desktop is so messed up is I show in class how to change those icons there. So again, we teach multiple classes on how to use these products. If you look for our Zipforms class, we have updated it to where we're training on the new user interface only. So Zipforms Online, I think, is the name of the class. Then on Transaction Desk or Instanet, you're going to see 2 classes that we teach. There's quite a bit more to cover in this system. So you'll see the Introduction to Instanet and then Advanced Instanet. In Advanced Instanet, we show you how to do the in-person signing. That would be someone's coming into your office, and you want to use this system to have them electronically sign the documents. There's a process that you can go through so that you don't have to access their email. You only access your email to complete it, and then you go through a certain process to do that. And then we also teach you how to push a listing from Instanet into Matrix. Yes, I said that right. You can start a new listing inside of Instanet Solutions, and there's a special procedure you go through to push all that information from Instanet into an incoming listing inside Matrix. It's pretty cool. It saves you a lot of time. You don't have to duplicate each one of the informations inside the both systems. Yes, ma'am.
WJ, we got a great question. As a DocuSign user, why would I switch to Instanet or digital ink?
A DocuSign is a fully functional electronic system. I'm not knocking it all, but it is a fee system. You have to pay for it each year. The reason we don't support DocuSign to begin with, but we don't teach DocuSign because it is a fee system. We already have these 2 systems that are included in the systems that we use. There's not any extra charge for them. They're fully functional. Okay? Any other questions we haven't covered, Barb?
No. I think you've answered all of them.
All right. Well, we're coming up on our hour here. We want to make sure that we respect everyone's time. I hope you have enjoyed the demonstration today. If you need support from MetroTech's MLS department, be sure and contact us. There's two different contacts there. Our main number for support is 214-540-2755. If you'd like to contact, we man that phone number from 8:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. And then we have an email address of mls@dfwre.com. That stands for Dallas Fort Worth Real Estate. I hope everyone's enjoyed the webinar today. Looking forward to see you in class soon. Also remember that this has been recorded and it will be up on our YouTube channel within a few days. Everyone have a great day. Bye-bye.